time?
It's going.
Okay. So good morning.
Morning. Morning.
Welcome to Unity of Chautauqua. And I am Reverend Barbara Williams, and this is celebrating our 41st year here.
Wow.
So it is delightful to be here in this sanctuary. I call this our sacred space. So let's begin by standing up and singing our welcome. Moment. And so we just lifted our voices and let's move those words into the very heart of our being. And deep breath and know that our soul is welcomed fully into this moment. We said yes to this community, this place, this time, this experience with an open heart, a curious mind, a welcoming spirit. And so for this opportunity to come together to support each other as we walk this sacred journey, we say thank you, God. Thank you, God. Knowing that we are welcome not only here, but our very journey through this life is God welcoming us into each moment. And so it is. Amen and amen. So, excuse me. We have an affirmation we say, and I was thinking about that affirmation this morning and realizing that in the most stressful times in my life, my world seems to kind of narrow in and I start catastrophizing. I don't know if you've ever done that. No, never? Good for you. But I do it. And until I remember this line, and I've used it over and over. And then I realized, if I use this line that there's one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, God the good, if I had done that every morning, maybe when the stressors came, I wouldn't wait months before I came to, I could really let this go and surrender to this and know there's something that Spirit wants to happen through me that is going to require surrender and embracing something bigger. And so as we say this morning together, let's just honor that fact that we're going to get lots of opportunities to live these words. So together, there is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, God the good, omnipotence. Okay, so we get to own it. And just a little couple of messages, but because also just know we've got people that will be watching this on video, about 30 people every month, which is really nice. And recently, Janine, our musician, was saying that she met somebody in town who said, "Oh, I watch you." Yes, in Jamestown. That was just nice. And then we had a meditation one morning, and a woman said, "Oh, I watch you." So that's just really special to me. And so for all those that meet us, and maybe for the first time, unity, we call it a positive path for spiritual living. We talk about how unity allows us to open our minds, touch our hearts, and it transforms our lives. So we're positive, practical, falling over my words, progressive approach to Christianity based on the teachings of Jesus, and definitely the foundation of unity, the power of prayer. And that said, our arms are open wide to so many other paths, noticing how each path has something unique that adds to our understanding. So you can find us at unitychq.org. You can watch all the videos, there's places, and you can see what's coming up the next week, what we're up to. And off season, meaning not when we're at Chautauqua physically, once a month, we have a Sunday service online the first Sunday of every month. So I hope that you will join us. So we're a combination of unity.org, where you can find about unity, chq.org, where you can find about, and we'd love you to join us. And that's us, Unity CHQ. And you're here for our Sunday service, which will meet again next Sunday here at 9:30. And we have a daily word meditation here. So if you're staying here, 8 to 8:30 here, right here in this sacred place. And my favorite thing, a positive path for spiritual living, that's Wednesday night. It is not in this room. It is at the Turner Activity Center at the north end, which if you're staying here, you have to bring your gate pass and take the north bus. It'll drop you right off at the Turner Center. And the reason is, it's a wonderful place because people can come from the outside as well without a gate pass. So, and this week is Infrastructure Week. I have no idea what that means at Unity or at Chautauqua, but I do know that our guest minister this week is Marty Newman, and I've known her from Florida. In fact, when I retired from Unity in Port Richey, she came right in there and helped them take that next step, and an important step at that church. So she's going to be talking about spiritual infrastructure. Now, she has been a minister, do I remember, 35 years?
Well, been in ministry about 37 years.
37 years.
Not necessarily unity ministry, but
Okay, she's been in ministry 37 years.
26 or unity.
And not only in several churches, but she does really an important function, is what you did in Port Richey, which she's a transitional. So when a church goes through, there our minister goes, Marty comes in and helps them process the very deep feelings that happen after they've lost somebody and they're going through a transition. So as you can imagine, that takes a really extra special talent to do that and help them take that next step. So we're going to sing again before Marty shares with us this morning about the spiritual infrastructure.
So swing wide the doors. Some of you know it.
Swing wide the doors, the time is right. Swing wide the doors to let in the light. Bring in the dawn for humankind. Swing wide the doors of this heart of mine. Again, right? Swing wide the doors, the time is right. Swing wide the doors to let in the light. Bring in the dawn for humankind. Swing wide the doors of this heart of mine. I'm not holding it in anymore. I'm gonna shout it out loud. I understand now what I'm here for and what this life is about. It's about love, it's about laughter, it's about comfort and smiles. It's about love, it's about kindness, it's about hearts open wide. It's about love, it's about passion, it's about taking a chance. It's about love, it's about service, lending a hand, lending a hand, swing wide the doors, the time is right. Swing wide the doors to let in the light. Bring in the dawn for humankind. Swing wide the doors of this heart of mine. There's a voice that I've heard for years. I learned to keep it inside. Well, now it's coming in loud and clear. I want a deeper life. It's about love, it's about laughter, it's about comfort and smiles. It's about love, it's about kindness, it's about heart and wide. It's about love, it's about passion, taking a chance. It's about love, it's about service, it's about lending a hand, lending a hand. Ready? Swing wide the doors, the time is right. Swing wide the doors to let in the light. Bring in the dawn for humankind. Swing wide the doors of this heart of mine. Swing wide the doors of this heart of mine. Well, you all know how to fill a room. Good.
Well, good morning.
Good
morning.
Thank you, Janine. What a wonderful treat it is to be with Barbara and Janine this morning, and particularly as a singer and I don't really call myself a musician. I'm a singer and an interpreter of songs, but it's wonderful. Thank you very much. And I love that song. That we didn't talk about that before the service, but that part about what is this about? It's about love. It's about laughter. It's about hearts open wide. And somewhere in here, I know I'm going to say, and forgive me if I say it again, but we're lifelong learners, right? We talk about being lifelong learners. And we also talk a lot about seeking. I'm a spiritual seeker. We're also finders. We've also found things. There are things we've learned that we know. And to know that it's not as though, oh my God, I've got to seek some more. It's about love. It's about laughter. It's about comfort. Smiles. It's about passion. About lending a hand. I'm going to take a risk that most of us in this room, I'm not sure about Janine, but the rest of us, that may be a lot of what our life is about right now. Is it about lending a hand if you're grandparents, if you're neighbors, if you're whatever you are, if you're retired and you have some time, you have a volunteer job? A lot of it is about lending a hand. Is that true for anybody here? Yeah, it's about that a lot. That's part of it. It's about that service, that loving service that we give, to just breathe into that and appreciate that in ourselves. So I did want to, talk a little bit about infrastructure this morning, and I became fascinated when I went online and started researching what this week was about. And I'll talk a lot more about that on Wednesday night. I found it very enlightening, actually. But, from the very beginnings of our humanity, really, we created infrastructure. Making a path through the grass to your next door neighbor who you've grown fond of, who sometimes walks back and forth through that path, that's infrastructure. I mean, it really is. It's something that, what does it do for you? It supports you in ease and grace. Infrastructure supports us in ease and grace in our life, doesn't it? Now, I don't know how many of you live in this part of the world, but I live in Michigan. And something that is not, sometimes does not feel like a lot of ease and grace in my life are the streets and highways. And I can't tell you how many flat tires I've had because of an unexpected and a brand new pothole that I fell into that blew a tire. And so that's one part of infrastructure I'm very, very familiar with. What to you, when you think of infrastructure, what infrastructure, what is it that has been created for our civic and communal life that provides ease and grace for us? What are those kinds of things? Oh, I thought you raised your hand. That's very dangerous. Only it's not.
I have my eye on you.
People can speak. So.
What do you mean, like plumbing and
Well, yes,
electricity?
absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cars.
Huh?
Cars.
Well, yeah, cars are part of the cars are not, I mean, the ability to have cars, although public transportation is yeah, right. And in Michigan, we have not paid much attention to it because we wanted to sell cars. So we're just now working on public transportation in Michigan, unfortunately. But that's an important thing. And I have a lot of friends who, they get to a point where they don't want to drive anymore. And so the transportation systems in the county that provide transportation for them, if they, to go to their doctor's appointments and those kinds of things, are very, very important. So when we think about living a spiritual life, being lifelong learners, knowing that we are in fact spiritual beings, what kind of infrastructure have you created and do you want to create to support that in a positive, practical way? How can you do that? And I'm like, talk to me. Really, if you're thinking about it, talk to me. What are the kinds of things that you already do which provide an infrastructure that supports your living your spiritual life in ease and grace? Now, you talked about it a little bit.
Let's say friends and family.
Yeah.
Pardon?
Friends and family.
Absolutely, good friends that we can talk to and share with, and sure.
That's
What
the
else?
first thing that came to my mind is a community of some sort.
Absolutely.
Where you feel like you can question, where you can be relaxed, where you feel
You can
loved and
admit that-
loved, yeah.
You can admit that sometimes you catastrophize. Right. Yeah, absolutely. What else?
For me, books. There's just so many books that have changed my life.
Absolutely. Especially when we, one of my favorite things about self-help books is people buy these self-help books, they think they're wonderful, and then they put them on the shelf. And I'm always saying, if you read a self-help book, if you're not doing what the person in the book did so that their life got better, you don't waste your money. Don't waste your money, I mean, unless it just doesn't speak to you, okay, well, I don't want to do that, we'll put it on the shelf. What else how else do you support your own spiritual infrastructure?
Music.
Pardon?
Music.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yes. We talked about that some this morning, it's how important it is. And one of the things I love about Alexa, got 2 or 3 friends who say, oh, you can't get Alexa, she listens to everything you say. I just say, Alexa, play Daniel Mod music, and she'll play Daniel Mod music for 3 or 4 hours. I mean, he's very prolific. Or Alexa, play Karen Taylor Good, or play, I can ask for specific songs and like that. They're there. It's wonderful. I have loved that because my CD player broke and that's all I've had for years is CDs, and so it's like you can't get them now. They're hard to find. So that's, you can ask your Alexa to play anything, and she, well, if you, I mean, I do subscribe to the Amazon Music thing, but you know, there is that. What else can we do?
I follow the Course in Miracles. I do
Yes.
the Course in Miracles, and it is a program. There is a program in there.
Yes, it is.
today. And I find that that's the strength where I get that. Oh yes, you know, I gotta remember that. I gotta work on that one.
The Course in Miracles is my way into unity. And the thing I appreciated about it is that it established a habit every day of reading and meditating. And during the 2 or 3 years that I did that, I established a really strong meditation practice. And that is still very valuable to me. Yeah. What else?
Journaling.
Oh, me too. Couple of 3 pages almost every day, sometimes more. Yeah. Especially if you live alone. If you live alone and you don't have anybody else to talk to, then you're I do talk to myself quite a bit. But I'm a wonderful conversationalist. So.
Access to the natural world, I think, is very supportive of everything.
And you know, I'm just learning to appreciate that. I live in a community of about 1,700 acres or so, and all of the living portions are fairly condensed. It's called Parkview Hills in Kalamazoo, Michigan. It's a legendary place. It was built for this purpose. So the human elements are fairly dense, and we have 3 lakes and 7 miles of walking trails and woods and deer, so many deer, they're now talking about how they're gonna manage the herd. The other morning I saw 6 does and 8 cute little fawns. So we've got 2 sets of twins this year. But I mean, I'm really, as a kid, now my mother didn't go outside, except to plant the flowers around the house. And I didn't grow up with that, and I've hardly ever done that, very little of that. And I'm really learning to appreciate that in whole new ways. Yeah, it absolutely is very fulfilling and sustaining. Anything else? So we do and we have created things that provide infrastructure for our lives, right? So what happens when that gets interrupted? And I had just shared, I'm sorry, I didn't remember your name. Aileen. I had shared with her about the Course in Miracles. And we had also talked about how neither one of us can really meditate very well to music, because if it reminds us of a song, we're like, oh, we're thinking of words and stuff like that. And I sat for a long time in silence, and I went into the ministry, and I was just, you know, I was real clear that meditation practice, how important it was in providing me with insight and information and intuitive knowing to support my emotional growth. Because emotional maturity, we are only spiritually mature as much as we are emotionally mature. I believe that with all my heart. Emotional maturity is essential for spiritual maturity. And so, you know, whatever my early life was like, I am very grateful for the thousands of hours and dollars that I spent in therapy over the years. So psychology and the things we learn from psychology are very important in emotional maturity. And in our board training, starting about 20 years ago or so, we started talking about how important it is to develop emotional maturity in our congregations and in our boards, because a church can't run without it. And I want to say something that I meant to say at the very beginning, how incredibly, I should know amazing, how amazing it is that, and I get irritated sometimes people use the word incredible, which means not believable, instead of amazing. It is amazing that the people connected with this congregation provide the opportunity that you have provided for me this week. It is of inestimable value. It is. And the generosity and the importance to the unity movement and the world, the gift you give to the world in that, is absolutely huge. And so I don't know what I said before that and where I want to go, but I did not want to forget to say that. So anyway, I was just very insistent in the early days of my ministry that, you know, if you're gonna have a spiritual life and a foundation is meditation, and you must sit and do that every day. You must do that every day. And in my second ministry, I had a wonderful young man and his family who started coming to church, and he owns 3 very successful, very well-known running stores in Michigan. And he had one in Kalamazoo and one in Holland and one in Grand Rapids. And he'd been there a while, just wonderful, wonderful young man and leader. And he called me one day and he said, you know, I want to have some time with you, and I take about an hour in the morning and run, and you know, would you join me? And I said, well, I don't run, I walk. And he said, okay, well, we'll walk. So I went walking with him, and I think we walked about 3 miles or something. He walked a little faster than I did, but I pushed it. I was like, yes, I can do this. And he said, you know, you've talked a lot about meditating and sitting. And he said, I have tried that since I started coming. And I can't do it. And of course, over the years, people had come to me and said, you know, I just tried sitting, and I have to tell you, I was a little judgmental about it. And I just thought, well, you gotta keep after it, you know? I mean, like, it's a skill you develop. Did you ever learn to play the piano or an instrument or learn to type or anything like that? You type for a while, you know, and then you've got to learn something else, and, you know, you get this part down, oh, it feels like really good, and then you start to learn something new, and you're, no, you know. And we're always saying, oh, I want to get back that skill I had. No, that's not the deal. You always have that skill. You're just at the bottom of the next level. That's all it is. You're just at the bottom of the next level. So it takes a little more effort to get into the ease and grace of that new level of the skill again. And, you know, so I'm kind of explaining that, and he said, well, I've come to decide that that doesn't work for me. And I had so much respect for him. And I said, well, okay, so tell me about that. And he said, well, I'm a runner. And he said, and I run. And I run for at least an hour and sometimes more every day. Plus, he was very active in the community. He sponsored Girls on the Run. In the summer, every Wednesday night, he had a free thing in the park, and people could come and you know, be coached and participate and stuff. Just a huge effect in the community. And I had to think about that, because of that young man demonstrated spiritual maturity, emotional maturity. And I what? Who am I to think that my way is the only way? Who am I to think? And what I began to notice is sometimes how challenging it was for me to continue to do that when it was interrupted. So, you know, we notice the infrastructure when the bridge collapses, when the highway is torn up, when the electricity is damaged with electrical storms. We notice it then. And that's when I would notice that, you know, of course I had company, I had to go on a trip, there was some pressure to do something, and for whatever reason, you know, I would like sit down and it'd be about 5 or 6 minutes, I'd go, oh, okay, but I gotta go do that. So I would go do that, you know, instead of doing that. And how difficult it would sometimes be to reestablish the habit, which I felt was so important to me. And I began then to do some things which were very different. And here's what I want to say. I would be very, very, this is, you know, because that's what I've been at in my home, very, very critical and condemning of myself for not doing that. Criticism and condemnation never helped anybody get better, particularly when it's self-administered. So, to recognize the moments every day, I don't care how much it is. And often, sometimes when I'm speaking, there are young families there. And if you were moms, know how it was when, you know, you had a 2-year-old and you needed to go to the bathroom. You know, I mean, they're not having it, right? And I thought, you know, there's got to be some other ways that people can take that moment, can take that breath, can Just connect with the Spirit within us. One of the scriptures we use a lot is Jesus said, where 2 or 3 are gathered together, there I will be in the midst of them. Doesn't take 2 or 3. It comes in with the one person. 2 or 3 other people in community, as we said, supports us in that. It's good. We want to do that. And I think after COVID, a lot of us are learning how valuable it is to come face to face and in person. But it is in us all the time. And just because we catastrophize a little, just because we get irritated a little, just because we get upset over something a little, which is that, we are fully human and fully divine, doesn't mean that, we can't just take a breath sometime. Maybe before a meal, we take a breath and just remember to be grateful. Maybe at any time when we gotta take a shower, we're in the shower, take a breath and connect. That's all it takes is a breath, right? That's the first thing that happens when we're born. We breathe. That's the Spirit in us. That's the Ruah, the breath of God, is that first breath. Just anytime, breathe. And then these things that we can do. There are a couple of things. I'm sure some of you probably follow Richard Rohr. And recently he said this, which I'm paraphrasing a little. Spirituality is a lifestyle, a way of being in the world that is simple, not insistent, non-violent, shared, and loving. Unfortunately, we made religions into an administrative machine that is too often avoided the lifestyle change itself. One could be warlike, greedy, racist, selfish, vain, most of all in religion history, and still claim that as if that validated everything they said and did. The world has no time for such silliness anymore. The suffering on earth and earth is too great. And Ganga White says this: what if our religion was each other? It's about love, it's about laughter, it's about comfort, it's about smiles. What if our religion was each other? What if our practice was life? What if the temple was the earth? What if the forest were our church? What if the holy water was the rivers and the lakes and the oceans? What if our meditation was our relationships? If the teacher was life, if the wisdom was knowledge, and if love was the very center of our being. So take a moment, take a breath. If you need to, if you've got a device where you can set an alarm for several times a day if you're really busy, then just set that alarm for some times when you think it's likely that you might be able to be reminded to just simply take a moment. That's all it takes is a breath. I remember, I connect, knowing that the Spirit in and through me is alive and well and expressing as the life that I am. My life and the way I live it is a prayer. My life is a prayer. However it may come out, however it may look sometimes, my life is a prayer. My thoughts are the intuitive knowings of Spirit in and through me. And I sort through them and let go of the ones that don't serve me and nourish the ones that do. My laughter is the sound of angels playing. The warmth and the love that comes inside in and through me is the love of God expressing as I am. God has no voice, has no hands, has no love, has no anything to give except through us. We are the hands, eyes, voice of God on this planet. Take a breath. Let's just rest in the silence in a moment. Just whatever is your habit, if you have a mantra, if you simply breathe, whatever you do, noticing. Always noticing. The silence is not the absence of sound. The silence is the awareness of the presence of God, and you can feel it on a crowded bus. You can know it. Just rest in that for a few moments in the silence. So now take a deep and a conscious breath and just feel the seat beneath you and the floor beneath your feet. And when you're ready and the light filters through your eyelashes, let's just take a moment and look around at the people here. Some you know well, no doubt. Some you may not know. Those of you who are watching this online, just think of the people in your life that you love and appreciate. And if any of them are around, take a look at them. Just appreciate them. And always remember to laugh a lot, as much as possible. Nothing is as fully relaxing as a really good laugh.
goosebumps as you were speaking. Just, it's, the feeling I have is how important it is to see what how much I'm supported on my spiritual journey, that it's everywhere. And you just took my view from about this big, about spiritual, all the things, the infrastructure that supported me to about this big. And I'm still getting goosebumps. I'm so grateful for that, to remind me how blessed we all are. So this is the time of our offering, and just a little about our offering. Our offering, the gifts that you bring to this moment, bring Marty in and allow us to have these beautiful spaces, allow us to have music, allow Marty to have housing while she's here, to get to stay.
Huge gift.
And so I just want to, as you hold your gift, if you would just hold it with that intention that this gift has come through many ways into this moment. And it's blessed other people on its way to you. And it will continue to bless on its way through Unity of Chautauqua, through the tithing that we do to the religious department at Chautauqua, as well as Unity Worldwide. And so just feel that what we call money is really God energy, and that we are its channel. And so we have an offertory blessing, if you join me. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, and I am grateful.